There is no IRS tax news today, so we'll move on to other stuff. Oddly, the federal government mandate requiring employers to enforce COVID vaccination of employees has resulted in a substantial decrease in the number of vaccinated individuals in the United States. The decrease in people vaccinated, previously thought impossible, has happened thanks to a new experimental drug being called COVID Anti-Vax, allowing people to reverse their previously voluntarily received vaccination in protest of continued federal government encroachment on state and individual liberties. At the current rate, the COVID anti-vax is on course to actually outpace the COVID vaccination itself, even those not having received the COVID shot opting to take the COVID anti-vax just to make sure. This despite the much more strenuous procedure of receiving the COVID anti-vax, males being required to receive 5 shots on a weekly basis administered directly into their left testicle, resulting in a temporary, we think, case of elephantitis of the left nut. Proponents of the procedure proclaim that the pain, increased risk of death, and possibility of having a softball-sized left testicle for the rest of their life is a small price to pay to protest the federal government's ever-increasing and very thinly veiled power grab over state and individual rights and liberties. On a serious note, I did voluntarily choose to be vaccinated. I think it's a good idea for most people to be vaccinated, but I think the government mandates are a bad idea. They set a bad precedent. Moreover, I believe they're designed to set a bad precedent. In other words, this tragedy is being used to implement laws that are going to be encroaching on state and individual liberties in such a way that'll make it easier for that to happen in the future in other situations, meaning they're using this situation in a manipulative type of way. I don't believe necessarily to help people, but to set a precedent to expand the federal government over what is normally on the state and individual level. And I think the continued centralization of power is dangerous because power does corrupt. There's a reason there's a separation of powers between the state and the federal government. Therefore, if there's a reasonable way to push back against these kinds of laws, I think it's worth doing, possibly by supporting states and businesses who do.